Howdy, y'all. My name's Z66, or Zakag, your underpaid, undertrained, undershirt mechanic, and welcome to my channel. I have quite a few different things I do on this channel, including car repair, which is a big chunk of it. I have a little bit of foreign and domestic that I do. Now, on this channel, we also have my initial reviews of devices and tools called premature evaluations. We have tool recovery, where I get old tools and bring them back to life and clean them up. We have Anatomy of Failure, where I go over why a part failed. There might be something new that you like. That's all I got to say. You have a good one.
Hello everyone, it's Z66, your formerly underpaid, undertrained, undershirt mechanic, and now we have your unlicensed cook going. So, since I've had to move up to Cleveland, Ohio because of the girlfriend-fiance, or the cam girlfriend as I like to call her, who's currently filming this and glaring at me, I won't be doing much car stuff, so I'm going to do some cooking stuff because hashtag ad revenue. So anyway, this recipe we're going to do in a crock pot is called a Mississippi pot roast. I do it a bit differently from the recipe because I like to have my own take with it. So first thing, we have an English beef chuck shoulder, English roast. Any one of those will work. This is a smaller crock pot, it's just me and my fiance, so we're going small proportions. So, big things you're going to need is your carrots. Now, carrots, like I said, you can put little baby carrots. I like to cut these individually. I like red onions in mine. You don't have to have a whole onion on there. This is really one of those recipes you're going to suit to your own taste depending on how unique you want to get. And I got the little red potatoes because I love these things that I want in my roast. So, let's talk seasonings you're going to need. You're going to need, at the minimum, ranch seasoning and 2 au jus gravies. Now I'm going to explain to you what you're going to do with the au jus in a second. Kelly Gold butter. Now, of course, salt and pepper. You're also going to need, you don't have to use this, I got this at Academy, but I really like this meat crunch seasoning. And whole pepperoncinis. You're going to put pepperoncinis in there and you're going to pour some of the pepperoni juice in there. This recipe is going to have a little bit of fuego. Just a little bit of fuego. It's going to be, as they would say, caliente. Now, you cook this for 8 hours. There's 2 ways to do this, and I do it the not normal way because I like it. And I've also made this with Old Bay before too. If you cook it for 8 hours on high, it's going to really cook in the flavor, and whatever seasoning you're going to do, it's going to be a lot hotter. So this is going to have a little spicy. Hello, waffles. Waffles and bacon are helper dachshunds right now. As you can see, I have someone at my feet looking for snacks. Isn't that right, Waffles? Anyway, if you cook this on high, I mean, you don't have to cook for the 8 hours, but I like it because it makes it really tender. You're going to suck in a lot more of the seasoning. Alright, bacon, I'll pick you up too. My dachshunds are made bacon and waffles. Here's the Baconator. And you can cook it for 8 hours on high, and it'll suck up a lot more of the seasoning taste. So there's that. Now, we can talk cups, measurements, but first thing first is because your crock pot will vary how much you're cooking. It just depends on how much water. Now, the recipe only calls for like maybe 2 cups, which I didn't like it because you ended up burning it. Your roast even under a low cook. And I felt like the water helped even out this gravy mix a little bit. So, first things first, you're going to do your little bit of water. Let's just say a cup. You're going to get 1 of the au jus gravies. You're going to start. You recording me doing this? Alright, good. Had to make sure the cam girlfriend was helping. So, we're going to get our one thing we all never use in the kitchen called a whisk. Normally I use a butter knife when I do this part. Now you're going to break this up and get this mixed, because this is going to make your base on your flavors but also make gravy for your meat. Alright. So we got that. We're going to use the other au jus in a minute. We're going to go ahead and crack Now, next thing to do, we are going to get the chuck roast ready. Now, some people may put stuff underneath it. I don't like to do that, like onions or anything, because all that does is create something that's going to get basically smoked the whole time it cooks. Alright. There we go. Why not? Hello, wiener dogs. I know you're excited. So, we're going to season our meat. I'm going to borrow a paper towel. And you don't have to use gloves when you're doing this, but it makes cleanup a lot easier. Now, salt and pepper are basic. I've used Old Bay before. I've even used hot sauce before. And I know I should be giving you measurements and stuff, but like I said, this is really one of those recipes you season to your taste. And I'm a man of excess taste. The big thing is you want to get both sides. And also, tip when you're buying a roast, you don't want the straight fattiest one, but you want some fat in there so you can get that flavor in there and the softness of the meat. So now, we're just going to season. Now this is going to give it a very peppery and smokery flavor. Like I said before, I've used Old Bay before, and the Cam girlfriend fiance can contend that's a pretty good roast. Now we're just going to smoosh it down in there. Now, like I said originally, how much you do depends. I've already cut the ends off my carrots. Right now I'm just peeling them. And there's no real science to this or anything. But these two are probably going to be more than enough carrots for my little crock pot. Alright, you can kill it. Now you can cut these however you prefer. I kind of like mine a little on the bigger side. The fiance don't think that's as funny as I do. Now we're going to do the onion. Now on the onion, I'm going to tell you this right now. You are not going to use this whole huge old onion on here. I'm going to use this for some other stuff. But I like, when I'm doing my roast, I like to do slivers like we're doing a hamburger. I'm going to put it straight on top of the roast. And that should be enough. And you can also cut this apart in pieces however you prefer. But this is like how I like to do it. I mean, you could like dice it up, but I mean after that long it'd be super soft. But I don't know if it'd be that good personally. Alright. Alright, so this is the important part. This is the peppercini part, because this is one of my favorite parts, because I love to eat these things when they're done roasted. Recipe calls for 4. I like to put in like 6, not because it really changes the flavor in my opinion, I just like eating them. So I put in extra pepperoncinis. And I like to give it a little bit of the peppercini juice in the container. Now, we're gonna put some carrots along the side. Now, remember what I talked to you about? Big slices of onion. And we're gonna put this one right here in the corner. I'm gonna put some of these little potatoes. I didn't do anything with them. I like them with the skin. If you like the skin without them, whatever. Some people prefer circumcised potatoes, some don't. And then we're just throwing some carrots in here. Alright, now to the last of the seasoning. Thank you, Cam girlfriend. This is where you're going to take your ranch. Now you can put it directly on top of the meat. You can put it on top of the vegetables, however you prefer. And you really only need 1 pack because it puts out a lot of stuff. Put up that. Here's a thing of au jus. Now you could probably get away with 1 thing of au jus if you cook, but I like it to be extra au jus, so there's that. And some Irish butter to go on top of it. A heap into however you prefer. Now, we're going to need some more water. Because we need to cover meat a little bit more. Alright. Boom, bada bing. Now, like I said, you have 2 options on how you can do this. You can do this for 4 hours at low or 4 hours high. I'm going to do high because it makes it a little more flavorful and takes in the spices more. Alright, well, with the magic of technology and editing, in just a minute you're going to see the end result. And also, I'm going to bring this to where you're going to have more juice than you're going to need with this, which is perfectly fine. What my mother would do whenever I'd make this, she'd get some bean mix or like dried vegetables and use half the juice to make a soup base out of it with some of the leftover roast. A great way to stretch this meal out some more, make it a little different. Alright, we're going to get this cooking. Alright, so here's the finished thing. We've got a nice crisp on this onion right here. Now this finished about 1:30 in the morning. You can smell the pepperiness. I got this just chilling because obviously when it was done cooking it was too hot to put in the fridge right off the bat. But I'm about to put this in the fridge and then I'm going to heat it up and I'll show you what it looks like when I eat it for lunch. Alright, so I've heated this back up and we've got this. Now, you can see the seasoning stayed on there pretty good and we've got a good gravy base. Let's try to break some of this off without burning the snot out of myself. And that's good. I like cooking it on the hot because you get more of the seasoning taste in it, but you got to be careful you don't burn it, so that's why you got to put that extra water in it. Definitely more water than the recipe calls for. And here are the pepperoncinis. Word of advice, once you heat them up, I drain them, I maybe pop them because they're going to have hot, juicy liquid in them. But I hope you enjoyed this cooking tutorial, you know, changing up things. Give me some of that ad revenue. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
Well, everyone, this is Z66, your undertrained, undershirt, and underpaid mechanic, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, comment below, because tell your mama, tell your grandmother, tell your doctor, because I can't do this alone, and I can't pay for these Ray-Bans without your help. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. You have a good day now. Goodbye.